Hey, everybody, welcome again to the Empowering Process podcast. And today I have with me a special guest, Nina Maglic. Now, Nina is someone who is a marketing architect, author, international speaker, energy healer, but most importantly, she has a calling that is about healing millions. And the way that she's doing that is through the book that she wrote, the training that she does, and the people that she works with. Her intention is to make change possible through helping other change makers, healers, coaches, entrepreneurs be successful. But let's talk about Nina and her life. Nina, welcome. So, hey, Nina, I'm so excited to have you here. You missed the introduction I did. What I did was I basically, who you are as far as a coach and strategist and all that, but most importantly, your passion now for healing millions and your approach to doing that. But before we get there, hi, say hello to everybody and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to be here. Oh my God, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Gail, for having me on your podcast. Oh my God, this is going to be so much fun. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, what I want to do is start with the story of how you finally stepped into the incredible power that you have, the incredible connection that you have. Um, because I think that you are magic. I really think your last name should be Magic. So share with us a little bit about what it's like when modern medicine fails you.
Yeah. Um, oh, let me go back to that. That's a really interesting topic. So, a few years ago, I became very sick. And when traditional medicine couldn't help me, I spent 18 months going to doctors, doing all blood tests, body scans, everything what they told me to do. And nobody could find the root cause of my problem. I had enormous pain in my belly. I had really painful cramps. Every time when I had a cramp, I was paralyzed for 1 hour from pain. I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. And the problem was, I had 5 to 8 cramps per day. There was a moment I couldn't do anything. I couldn't walk, I couldn't, work and couldn't do anything. And there was a moment at the hospital they told me it's going to take us years to find the root cause of the problem. And so, like, you know what? I cannot live like this one more day. Let me figure this out. So on my way home, I said like my body is telling me something, but I have no clue what it is. So I started remembering the movie Heal, and what they did in the movie is like basically provided spiritual support for people to heal. I said, okay, maybe that's it. Let me try that. And I was so desperate. I would try anything. When you cannot walk from pain, you will try anything to get your health back. And I reached out to an energy healer in LA, and in just 2 sessions, I became pain free. And I was like, oh my God, what it is. I want to know everything. Like, I don't want to beg for help. Teach me how to do it. Teach me. Is it possible to learn? And she said yes. And I started learning from her sister and from her how to do, like, how first to tune into body and start really listening what our body is telling us. That was the first really step to everything. Start paying attention how you feel and start feeling the energies around you. And, I never had an intention to become a healer. I was working in marketing, and I was really good at that. But, the universe had different plans for me. And while I was learning how to do energy healing, just really to help myself, people started reaching out to me to help them. And without even realizing, I was booked weeks in advance. And I remember one day my husband wanted me to do something with him. And so like, I cannot do it. My whole day is full. I cannot do it. But he said, can we do it the next day? I said, no, I cannot. Everything is full the next few weeks. And then I realized this is not a hobby anymore. This is a real business. And I started treating it as a business, and I got into the world of energy healing, and it changed my life forever.
So yeah, the world of energy healing. Um, First of all, we all have the capability. That's the thing. We are all here. We're all energy.
Mm.
What we can do on our journey is choose to remember what we're capable of, right? And believing in it. So, one of the other, there's so many remarkable things about Nina, but one of the others is because she has tuned in. When you tune in, there's this thing that says, as within, so above, as above, so within. So as she was tuning in, she was tuning up, right? So she was opening up. And I think the first session that I was with you in one of your meetings, you said something. I'm like, oh my God, this woman is like tuned in.
Yeah,
Right?
I get the
Right?
guidance. I think, like you said, everybody can do it, but we forgot how to do it. Like as a kid, we play with energy. It's just everyday life, and it's not really something special until people come and say, "This is not what you're supposed to do. There's other way of living." And then we forgot these magical skills that we have. But as you said, like everybody can do it. We are living, we are breathing using energy. If I'm talking to you, I'm using my energy to talk to you, and you are using your energy to listen to me and see me. Like we are doing this constantly. What energy healing does is really helps you be attuned with your body, start paying attention what your body is saying, and also start paying attention to other people, what they're seeing, what they're hearing, and like it's just beautiful world opening up for you. And all of a sudden, there's a completely different way of living and understanding people at a much deeper level, and
Yes.
just realizing that we are all souls coming here to experience something. And sometimes we stumble, sometimes we do things right, but this is just a journey, and that it is. And I love, when I had you on my podcast, I love how you explain the soul journey, like with the level up. Would you like to explain into the audience how you?
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, you did it so right in
Yeah,
the
yeah, this
podcast.
is
It's just
about
like
you.
I have a level one, and people loved it so much. Like I have
Well,
a
there
level up.
are so for me, there's a bunch of different analogies I use. So you want the diving board one? I like the diving board one. So the pool, imagine the pool is um, your lessons and your ability to grow. And so the first time that you take the intentional step to grow, you're on the first diving board. You don't know how to do this, but you jump. You do a little belly flop, that hurts, right? You go underwater and you're drinking down water and you're flaring and you can't get out and you're panicking. You finally get up and you're coughing up water and you crawl out of the pool. And well, that stunk, but I can go to the second diving board now. So you get to the second level. You now need to dive in that pool again. And this time you're going to go deeper. But this time you know you don't want to do a belly flop. So you might go feet first, right? Straight down. You go, okay, that's not bad, but you still don't know how to swim. You still don't. So you still flail around. But then you can go the third level, but you're going to go deeper. And so now you want to learn a few things. And so as each level goes, eventually, like I say, I do a pike now, right? I do a pike, go pencil in, and I relax and come right up. What does that mean? Sometimes the lessons are the same, but I go deeper into the meaning of it. I go deeper into the root of it. And because I've practiced going into it and because I'm not afraid of diving into it anymore, it's smooth. I grab my lesson and I come up. I say sometimes I can process in a nanosecond. And there's
Mhm.
7 stages of processing, the 7 stages of alchemy. But time is irrelevant when you're going through that, right? I can hang on to it, make it last forever, or I can do the pike and pencil in and float right back up, right? And so that's what change is all about. That's what awakening is all about, is going through that kind of process. And what I believe after I've learned my lessons, I'm still diving, but now I'm diving, and I mentioned it today, in order to open up the treasure chest, in order to open up my access to greater knowledge. And that's knowing from a Christ or God level versus a book or certification level. The things come to me, and they come to you, Nina. They come to you. So Nina had this dream as a child that she thought was, oh, this will never happen. And guess what she's doing?
Yeah. I had a dream when I was a child. I wrote it down in my journal. I was 16 years old. And I wrote, I want to have an advertising agency that doesn't only make an income, it makes impact. And that was for me so important that I have a company that makes an impact. And, I was building my healing business. I helped my fellow colleagues build their businesses too. And it all of a sudden new doors open. And I started helping healers with their businesses. And, when people say my dreams will never come true, this is what I believed when I was 16. But now I'm living my dream. I have a company that makes an impact and helps people around the world build businesses and change people's lives. And I especially focus on healers because I truly believe that the world needs more love, more peace, more healing. And there will be no peace in the world until we find the peace within ourselves and heal the parts of us that are out of alignment, that, just need a little bit fine tuning, and that's it. And this is why I'm so passionate about this work because it's not about business, it's about the ripple effect we have in the society and building the whole movement where we together help humanity. That's all about, like, I cannot heal millions alone, but we together can do it. And that's why I share my knowledge in my YouTube channel, my podcast. I share it everywhere because I want you to succeed. And I have my beautiful community of healers. And, you know, I feel really blessed that I work with these amazing, amazing people doing such great things in the world. And, I am living my childhood dream.
Yes, and I'm part of that community, and I'm so blessed because what happens, there's this philosophy that you are the sum total of the five closest people around you, the five people that you hang around with. And I have literally watched myself, as well as members of this community, week after week after week after week, elevate each other without intentionally elevating each other, just by sharing what I experienced last night, what you experienced, what happens during a meditation, what happens during just a conversation, right? It's not rocket science. It's so simple. And and the Bible tells you two or more brains get together, right? And we do that daily and not just once a day, as frequently as we want. And so Nina has been part of that for me and has been, so Gail, I see you using dragons for healing. I'm like, what? Then next thing I know, what am I doing? I'm writing a book about dragons, right? Right.
Yeah.
We've got a really intuitive, in tune person here. If you're willing, are you willing to share with us like where you come from? So Nina did not always live a blissful, blessed life.
Yeah, I'm happy to share about that, and because my biggest dream is really to give hopes and dreams people back to them. That's the biggest thing that we need to do for this humanity because very often we just give up living, give up having dreams and hopes. And I was born in Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's a small country, southeastern Europe. And 3 years we had the war. It was really crazy war, no electricity, no running water, no food, no money, no communications with the outside world, nothing really, just surviving one more day felt like winning a lottery. Like, oh, we are alive today. But you never know who is going to be alive in just 1 hour. If your parents are going to come home, or if you're going to see your brother again. It was constant fear. And when you live in that environment, you don't believe in your dreams. You don't believe that you can even survive. You don't believe that better future is even available to you. Like, you hate everything about that life. It's just like, oh my God. I remember when I was a child, I was asking myself and asking God a lot, God, what did I do to you? That you punish me like that, that I'm born in this country. I could be born in 194 countries in the world. Why I was born in Bosnia? I never understood it. But now I get it. There was a bigger meaning behind that because every single experience we have shaped us in who we are today. And I know that I couldn't heal millions and I couldn't start that movement without that experience. And my biggest dream is really just to give people hopes and dreams back. I know sometimes life is not always pretty, and no matter where you live, you can live in the most peaceful world, but still have a challenging life and still lose everything what you have. I get it. I just want to give you a message, no matter what your life situation is, and no matter how hopeless you are, you can change your life. It really starts with a choice. It really starts with the choice to choose things differently and start working on yourself and start healing parts of you so you can feel liberated and start creating a new future for you.
You know, I was thinking about choices today, right? So not surprised you brought that up. And this happens. And and what I was thinking about choices, yes, we all have choices. And I was thinking about how do I want to speak to leaders, because I do leadership training about higher choices and not make it sound like a spiritual thing because they'll shut right off. They will not listen. And I was thinking it really has to do with this. Are you making a choice from the best intention possible? Are you making a choice to harm someone, to bring someone down, to walk over someone, to push yourself ahead, or any of those normal business reasons why you make choices? Or are you making a choice to elevate the company and elevate yourself in the most honest and caring way? That's what I mean. It's not rocket science. It's not really complicated. And only you know,
Yeah.
right? Not true. Those who are receiving can feel the energy. One of the exercises I do is an exercise around how do you show up and how does the other person receive you showing up? And I have three levels of exercises where the first one, you show up pretty crappy and that person knows it. The second time, you show up manipulative and that person knows it. And the third time, you show up with complete love and so excited. Think of the energy just those words alone give off. That's what we mean by choices,
Yeah.
right? So, how did you get out of Bosnia? I know all about what was going on in that poor
Oh,
little
that's a
country.
very interesting journey. I have, you know, I wanted to leave Boston. My father didn't allow me. He said, like, I don't know, like, you alone in the world. He saw things that happen in the world. So, of course, he had some fear. And, but I said, I just want to go and try it. I wanted always to study in Austria because of history. I'm a huge fan of history, especially Austrian history. And Um, when I came to my father, said I'm going to move to Austria, he said, no, you cannot do this. So I spent the next 2 years working, like teaching people math and English, just to get some money, to collect some money to get to Austria. And my father said, I know I did everything, like I applied for visa, I got visa, and I was like, I was leaving the country. And 2 days before I left the country, I came to my father. I said, Father, I'm leaving Bosnia. He said, like, you're going on vacation? I said, no, I'm going to live in Bosnia. And he said, okay, how much money you have? And Gail, I felt so rich. I said, I have 800 euros. And I was so proud of that. I was like, 800 euros. My father looked at me shocked. I said, that's nothing. I said, Father, you don't understand. That's enough money to survive for a couple of months, and then I will figure out. He said, that's not enough money to live 1 month. And so like, let me try it. He said, okay, but don't forget, you can always come back home. I said, oh, okay, I will try. And I came to Vienna the first day. I paid my semester fee. I paid the room where I lived, paid my ticket, transportation ticket, and I only had 10 euros left. And I was like, my father was so right. But I was so proud to say to him, like, you were so right. I was still like a teenager, and I said, like, you know what? Let me figure this out. I will try to do it to prove my father wrong, that I can live here and I can survive and I don't need his help. And this is what I did. I started learning, start growing, like start working. My husband and I set up an advertising agency in 2009, and without any context, no email list, no social media following, nothing. It was 2009. Social media wasn't a thing at that time. We didn't know anybody. We just wanted to work here. And, that changed our lives forever. Like, I remember the first thing what we did, like, we didn't know better, let's be honest. We were just like teenagers trying to survive in a foreign country, trying to make things work. We ordered 200,000 business cards. And when we did it, like our accountant called us and like, this must be a mistake. You mean 2000? And we said, no, no, no. It was 200,000 business cards. And the only thing what we did, we were walking down the streets in Vienna, putting our business cards into mailboxes and going to the stores and say, if you need somebody to do marketing for you, we can do it. And this is how it started. And in just 7 days, one of the biggest advertising agencies in the world reached out to us, gave us such a small project. But that was just a task project. And that took a completely different way in our lives. Like, we got clients, we started living our life, and yeah, it changed everything for us.
You know, what were one of the small companies that you worked for?
Yeah. I worked for many companies at that time, but that was just an advertising agency that my husband and I set up. We thought it's just going to be side hustle, because we were students just to
Right.
survive, but it became something completely different. Like, we worked with amazing companies, Toyota, Mazda, even Samsung, like, and that changed our lives forever.
Yep. Yeah. And sometimes the ignorance is bliss, right?
Mm,
So I have a couple of stories to share that's very similar. Like my first job as a leader, right? I mean, I never planned to be a leader. I didn't go to college, right? I was a gang kid, in an inner city. And I was working for this very prestigious firm, and the president called and he said, I'm firing your boss. We're in trouble. And, he told me what was happening. He says, I've been watching you and I think you can pull us out. I didn't know I could put a business out of business, right? I didn't think that was possible. Never occurred to me. I thought, what a great opportunity because it is a mess and there's only one way to go, and that's up. Like when you hit the ground, there's only one way to go. I was on fire. Within, I would say 9 months, maybe less. It was before the end of the fiscal year. We had to buy software, computers because of taxes, right? We were making too much money, right? And we were investing money and rolling money. It was just money, 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 money. I was talking with the CFOs. It was so much fun. And because failure was not an option and it was fun,
I
right?
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
our case, the only failure was to pack our things and go back to Bosnia. But we both were so too stubborn and too proud to say to our parents we failed. We needed to figure that out. We didn't have any other choices. We were like, it's possible. Let's try it.
Yeah, there's only one choice.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
exactly.
I have a dear friend, so you know that I spent some time in the dancing community. And I remember her when she gave up her day job to become a full-time dancer. No idea how she was going to survive, right? So, she was giving lessons. You don't make a lot of money giving dance lessons, and she couldn't find a male dance partner who would compete with her, right? Because there are like 50 women to one man, 50 women, right? So there's a lot of competition in the women to get a good guy, right? And she was at the point where she was like, I almost have to go back, Gail. But she refused to have a plan B. She said, if I have a plan B, if I have a contingency plan, I will have an out. I'm not going to have a plan B. Right. And she hooked up with the guy who was like, he's in the middle of the country, she's on the West Coast. They figured it out, right? Because she's a little bit hip hoppy, he's a little bit of jazz, and it's West Coast swing where you can put anything in there. And they rocked it, rocked it. And she was traveling Europe, teaching in Europe, being invited to other competitions, being invited to teach big classes. Amazing. And by the way, um, she does kinetic body testing, right?
Mm,
And has that's she said that is what broke the bubble for me is,
mm.
doing my body testing and getting my body to believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you do body testing, like especially at the beginning, you have no clue what you're doing and you're like doubting yourself. And but the thing is, the more you try, the more you practice, the better you become, and the more you trust yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like start using body tests like for small, unimportant decisions because you're not so attached to the outcome and start testing it.
Right, right.
You
And
will
they go,
see it
oh,
work.
maybe that was an accident. Let's try it again. Right.
Yeah.
And then, oh, did I have two accidents in a row? Right. Let's try it again. Right. I've a client I'm working with right now, and it doesn't matter what we're working through. But one of the things that she said to herself was, I really need to make more money. She doesn't, by the way, but this was the belief. And, her and I've been doing work on stuff. And she goes, Gail, I decided to change purses. I picked up a purse and there was $17 in there. And then I decided that purse was too big. I wanted something like, Goldilocks, too big, too small, just right. So I grabbed another one, $16 in there. And I stopped and I said, okay, I get it, universe. I don't need money is there when I need it. Right? So she's starting to recognize and accept the signs. And I think that's part of it too, is accept, believe and accept it, right?
Mm,
And when you make a choice on that belief, it's always the right choice.
yeah. I love what you said. And sometimes, you will have this knowing that you need to do something. You cannot explain it to anybody, but you just know you have to do it.
Yeah.
And not everybody is going to understand. Most people will say that you're crazy what you're doing. You know? And all of a sudden, when you do it, your whole life is going to change. You cannot explain like what that was, but you knew that you have so much fun doing it and you enjoy every single moment of it. And the
Yeah.
outcome wasn't important at all. The most important thing is that you enjoy and have so much fun and love doing it.
And that's just it. I mean, I'm having a blast writing a book about dragons, right? And it's written in that it could be a child's fantasy book or it could be an adult awakening book, right? Right? Because it's each chapter is a story in itself of interacting and learning from a magical creature. And the lessons are all lessons we all have to learn in life. And this was, I was told, first of all, you said, oh, dragons. I'm like, no. And then I met with a gentleman that we both know. And he's doing some healing, goes, oh, there's another book in your future. And I literally swore and I went, no, because it takes a lot to write a book, right? And he goes, not right now, but yes. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I forgot about it. And then I went on a road trip. And guys, when you get into the zone, and that's flow. When I teach about flow, it's when you're in a zone for an extended period of time, you start getting information after information after information. And so I got to write this book, but not only that, I got the whole outline. So I got home or to my destination and I threw the outline down right before I forgot it. Threw the outline down. I had 3 chapters done in 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, it sounds crazy, right? And then on LinkedIn, I do a LinkedIn Live on Mondays. I in the group went, oh, and I'm writing a book about dragons. You could hear a pin drop,
Yeah.
right? But I'm having a blast, so I know it's the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's very interesting. You introduced me to dragons. I didn't know about them before. And you do meditations with dragons, which I really, really love. And the thing is, sometimes you just need to allow yourself to give it a try. You don't have to know everything, but just allow yourself to try it.
yeah.
And you will have so much fun. I really love your meditations with dragons. They're always super cool. And your cards with dragons. Oh my God, they're always spot on. What we need to hear that day. It's just beautiful, beautiful. But the most important thing is you enjoy it. You have a smile. Every time when I meet you, you say, oh, I wrote a new chapter. I'm so happy. And you see that in your eyes. Like I can see that in that you are really, really happy that you're enjoying every single moment of it. You cannot explain it to anybody because it's not their vision, it's your vision. Maybe they
Right.
will get it, maybe they'll not, but it's not your problem. It's just enjoy it, have fun, and give it yourself a try, just to experience it, even for a moment. And
And
when I
that's what
experience
you're
it for a
helping
moment,
healers do
yeah,
is enjoy marketing, right? Because those of us, I mean, we know what we know,
yeah,
and then we know what we have to know, right? And many, um, and I wrote a training which is business woo and you, and it's basically here's the business piece. You do the woo who you are, and then this is how you put you forward, right? So it's like the marketing piece because there is no division, there's no separation, right? We are all intuitive. We all have. When I'm trying to think of an example that won't cause a political uproar, or a social uproar, but I will say the word Trump. You don't think that man's connected? He may be a jerk and he may have terrible approaches, but he is connected. He is connected, right? He has a role. We may not like the role, but he has a role and he's playing it out, whatever the consequences. And if you look at anyone, take a look at Lincoln. Lincoln and Jefferson were two that presidents that I was in awe of because of their versatility. And Lincoln talked to God all the time. He talked to his dead mother all the time. Always. He foresaw his death. He knew it was coming.
yeah.
That's not magic. What is?
What you mentioned here is really important for people who are listening. everybody has his or her role in this world. Sometimes
Yeah.
we will not like the role, but they have a role, and it is going to change the world. And
Yes.
sometimes people are thinking like, oh my God, what is happening? There's a bigger reason behind everything. And what we can do in the world is tuning in and see how we feel, how we show up, and what we can contribute to the world and world peace. Like, am I working on myself? Am I feeling at peace within myself? And some people are going to say, but how can I do it when the whole world crumbles? The thing is, we are all energetically connected. The more you work on yourself, the more you help others energetically, because we are all frequencies and energies that are interconnected. And
Yeah.
the more we work on ourselves to really feel better, like feel safe in our body, feel peace in our body, we energetically can uplift the whole humanity because we are all interconnected. So no matter what the chaos is in the whole world, it's really how we respond to it and what we learn from that.
Back to choices,
Mm.
right? Back to choices. You know, I saw Marianne Williamson give a speech, and this is the first time that she was running for any office, right? So, um, first of all, when I heard her speech, I'm like, if she ever gets into Congress, they'll kill her because she's a threat. I really thought that when I heard her, but there was something that she said that really hit home because words and intention, back to intention, is everything. And she said, as long as we have a Department of War, we must have war.
Mm.
If we had a Department of Peace, we must have peace. We need to change our political structure in order to change the world,
Mm.
right? So, so I'll now put on my economics hat, right? Because I almost became that almost was my calling because it's all crap. But government's role is interstate commerce and peace. That's it. That's it. From an economic perspective, when the government gets involved economically, we create a web, right? And so my study after that was the International Monetary Fund and the impact of third world nations defaulting on their loans. And it was quite a paper. I got 12 credits for that paper. That's a lot of credits, guys. Right? Um, but I learned a lot about what interconnectivity is and how bad choices are made because you're afraid to break that connection,
Mm.
right? And so our governments are afraid to break the status quo because they don't know what it's like after that, right?
I think everybody's afraid to change the status quo. That people have the biggest change is change. The biggest fear is a fear of change because, oh my God, even if I stuck, even if I hate this situation, even if I feel terrible, like it's
What's next,
familiar. I know what to expect.
right?
But
How will I feed myself? How will I put a roof over my head?
yeah,
I'm about to take that step and I have no clue,
yeah.
right? I just know it'll happen.
Yeah, that's true. Like sometimes we need to have that leap of faith to do things differently
Right.
and just to follow that gut feeling and
Yeah.
trust ourselves more.
Yeah, and I love that. Trust ourselves more, you know. And when Nina says healing millions, yes, she's talking about physically, but she's also talking spiritually and emotionally and mentally, right? She's talking about communication. She's talking about interpersonal experiences. She's talking about the collective. This is a huge dream that she has, a huge dream, and this is why she can't do it alone,
Yeah.
right? This is why it's definitely a communal thing, and the change is happening.
Yeah. changes are happening if you want it or not.
Yeah.
It's like let's prepare ourselves for the change that is going to come and start working on ourselves and start really um, working on our fears. You know, when we
Yeah.
have so much fear, we are easily controlled. Let's work on ourselves and find that peace within ourselves so we can stand in our own power and make choices that benefit us and follow our intuition and
Yeah.
do things we love.
You know, this I would say started in the year 2000. So I've been doing this for a long time, but it accelerated in around 2018. Um, I no longer believed anything I was told, anything I read, anything I saw on TV. I didn't believe my beliefs. I didn't believe work. I didn't believe society
Hmm.
because I learned a lot about, well, I'd learned a lot about the world. And so I started asking, well, what if this wasn't true? What would it look like if this were not true? And I found truths in doing that,
Hmm.
right? I uncovered, a friend of mine says, well, you're lifting up the rock scale and you're looking at the underbelly of the worms and you're seeing, well, that's what's really there. And the worms are very important. They help irrigate the land so that plants can grow. They're not a bad thing at all, right?
Yeah.
They have their role, they have their job. And so in doing that, and like I said, it accelerated because I started, well, if my beliefs in God is not true, then what could be true, right? Um, and I came to my own conclusions. You come to yours, but ask the questions. Ask the questions. And so this conflict that people see, and I'll give an example, and I'll go back again to what's going on politically. Oh, we bombed blah blah blah. And I just let it go by. And a friend of mine put out a post and listed every president in the last 20 years and how many countries they bombed and how many deportations they did. And their numbers are way worse. So what you hear, just research and look for the truth. Is what's happening good? Oh, but let's bring the flames down a little bit, right? Let's bring the flames down a little bit. And how can I show up in love in that environment?
Hmm.
How can I show up in forgiveness versus blame in that environment? Because we're all here to play a role. We're all here to play out this particular movie, right? And a character in the movie who's not even a supporting character, but someone who may walk on the stage and off, why would I let that character affect the play I'm in,
Hmm.
right? And so if I can write my script from love, right? And so it's intention, and our intention is to heal the world.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So we can have more peace and
Have
more
more
love
peace.
and
Yeah.
more joy in the world.
Yeah.
And that's that's something that is so, so important. And I think what you said is, sometimes they want us to believe certain things so they can do things that benefit them. But if we question things around us, if we really start questioning everything, every single belief we have, everything what is happening around us, and really start working on ourselves, okay, what do I choose today? I choose love. I choose peace. I choose freedom.
Mm.
And it really starts with that. And when you know what you choose, ask yourself, how do you want to show up today? How you're going to contribute to that. That's all what you need to do. Even the small steps count. You do what you can do. If everybody can do what they can do, who will change the world by tomorrow.
The small ripples.
Yeah.
And they gather in the ocean. The small ripples gather and gather and gather, and then you have this huge wave that you can surf on by the time it hits the shore. Right. Right. So, Nina, if folks want to get in touch with you, if they want to buy your book, they want to know more about your coaching program. It's not even a coaching program, it's so much more, so rich. Um, or even know just a little bit more about you, how would they do that?
So first of all, Gail, thank you so much for asking that question. And everybody who was watching or listening, thank you so much for being here. You can buy my book, Healing Millions, Heal, Earn, and Impact Millions by Doing the Work You Love on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. We also have, you can reach out to me on my website, ninamaglic.com. I have my membership, Healing Millions, which is beautiful community. We come together, heal, do business. It's just beautiful. We also have a Healing Millions mastermind. Doors are opening very soon. And just go to my website, ninamaglic.com, my YouTube videos, Nina Maglic. I have a special podcast, and Gail was my guest on my podcast, Healing Millions. So go and check that episode. It was really, really beautiful. We had so much fun recording and talking to each other and talking about dragons and guides and angels and, another world. And yeah, this is the way how you can stay in contact with me or just comment below the video. I see comments and respond.
And it was so much fun. And Nina, we will definitely do this again. And everybody, thank you for joining us on the Empowering Process podcast. If you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you have a question, put it in the comments. If you know someone who might benefit from this, as I'm sure you do, share it out. And as always, remember to subscribe so you do not miss the next episode. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Nina.
you. Thank you, Gail. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empowering Process podcast. Be sure to visit Gail at gailcraft.com to learn more about how she serves thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal seekers. And remember, if you like this broadcast, be sure to share and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.